Welcome to 365 Language Planet. This is Let's Speak English and Nihongo in collaboration with the RSU PAL Center of Ransit University International College in Bangkok, Thailand. Before we start, let's check this month's 365 Language Planets. So far, we have 7 planets: Zayar Mint, Noda, Ayamiatita, Takesh, A Hybridge, YO, and Yimin Fo. Way to go! If you want to become a 365 Language Planet, all you need to do is share an idea in the chat. So, let's begin! Hajimemashou! The theme of episode 44 of Let's Speak English and Nihongo is money. In Japanese, okane. And to discuss this theme with us tonight is PPK. Good evening, PPK.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing tonight?
Good. Pretty good.
Do you like money?
Yeah, of course. I think everybody does.
Yes.
Especially,
Me too. Me too. Yes, money is great. All right. So, I know. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the episode. I don't know exactly what happened, but it just it seemed like the live stream crashed. So thank you so much for coming back. And let's talk about money. So the first question of tonight's show is, if you had more money, how would you like to use it? In Japanese, もしもっとお金があったらどのように使いたいですか? So, how about you, PPK? If you had more money, how would you like to use it?
well, let's say I somehow won the lottery. The first thing I'm gonna do is hire someone like a financial advisor to suggest me what I'm going to do with the money, because I want to be responsible spending the money, where to spend, so in the long term it's more beneficial to me.
I see. So if you had more money, you would hire a financial advisor to manage your
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds great. Sounds very wise. Well, let's ask the viewers. If you had more money, how would you like to use it? もしもっとお金があったらどのように使いたいですか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Alright, I get the timer. 4分間あります. So the question is, if you had more money, how would you like to use it? もしもっとお金があったらどのように使いたいですか? You know, in my case, if I had more money, I would like to visit my family in America more often.
I see.
Yes. But it's very expensive to fly to America.
Yeah, even flying from Myanmar to Thailand, the neighboring countries, is kind of costly.
Yes, and over the Pacific Ocean, that is, quite the long distance flight. And so, it's exhausting too. So, it costs a lot of money. takes a lot of energy and it consumes a lot of time.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sunny Ween. Sunny Ween, for joining us tonight. Please feel free to share your answers in the chat. The question is, if you had more money, how would you like to use it? もしもっとお金があったら、どのように使いたいですか? Other than hiring a financial advisor, do you have any other ideas about how you'd like to use more money?
Well, my financial advisor would typically suggest things like invest in some things like real estate or some modern things like cryptocurrency and such. And he would suggest something like we should save this portion and use this portion or something. I think for personal reasons, I would use the money to buy more delicious food because I like food.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, what kind of food?
Well, like steak, maybe buffet and such.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's one of the ways I love to use money is going out to eat.
Yeah.
Going out to eat is always a fun way to enjoy using money. But how about the viewers? If you had more money, how would you like to use it? Okay, Ayamitira says, I'm guessing if I have more money, I will probably use it for many things, such as buying the big house. Wow, sounds great. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. Now, a lot of Americans, always, like want to buy a big house. Is that in Myanmar? Do a lot of people want to buy big houses too?
Yeah, I think everybody would like to live in spacious houses. Yeah.
See, okay. KE says, I would make use of all the money I have for my boyfriend who is planning to start his own business here in Japan. That would make me happy. Wow, sounds great. And thank you, KE, so much for joining tonight's show. Zayar Min says, if I have more money, I want to go to Las Vegas. Sounds fun, and thank you so much for joining tonight's show. All right, KE says, K Workshop says, I'd like to buy a mountain to enjoy off-road riding. Wow. That's quite ambitious. Now, if you want, K Workshop, you can add the word private. So I'd like to buy my private mountain. That's it's kind of another. A lot of people have a dream to buy a private island.
A mountain's quite unusual.
Yeah, I think I've never heard of like wanting to buy a private mountain, but sounds fun. Thank you guys so much for joining. Kanmama says, I would like to take trips around the world. Sounds fun too. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight, Kanmama. All right, Sunny Ween says, if I have more money, I'm gonna buy infinity toys. Okay, sounds great. Infinity. That's tough, tough to explain in English, but I would say infinity is a noun. So to make it into to kind of make it into a number, I would say an infinite number of toys. An infinite number of toys. Sounds like a lot of toys. Okay, well, great job, everyone. Nice ideas. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the show. Okay, so now please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes, 4分間あります。And it could be about money or it could be about anything. Please share whatever idea or ask whatever kind of question you want to ask. Do you have any questions, PPK?
Yeah. So what do you personally buy if you have more money?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a great question. I didn't really have more money recently, but I got a new phone. I got a new phone, and I got a new internet kind of service provider. And so I guess my next step would be maybe a new PC, like more high power, a more powerful PC.
For me, I just got it. I just made a financial decision to buy a new setup like this earphone and new PC.
That's cool. The picture is great. Great picture.
Yeah, I bought a camera.
Nice.
A better camera.
Cool. All right. Well, K Workshop says he has a question. He says, "Do you have any good idea to get much money?" Great question. And K Workshop, if you have an idea, please share your answer in the chat too. But PPK, do you have any good idea to get much money?
Well, I think investment sounds like an obvious option. You could invest in houses, you could invest in jewelry, because saving money doesn't increase the money, but property increases in value, so your money increases. So the best way to increase your money is to invest in property.
Nice advice. Ayamitida has a question. She says, or he said, what do you think about money makes everything? It's a little bit of a tough question to answer. What do you think about money makes everything? I'm not sure that meaning. So if you have a chance, please try to write that question again. And okay, maybe we'll come back to it. Zayar Meat says, PK, if you have $1 million, what do you do?
Well, I want to be responsible about where I spend my money, and I'm not the best person to know where exactly I will spend my money. So I will hire somebody to advise me on where to spend my money on.
Smart. Me too. Me too. I'm not very talented when it comes to money. KE says, if you had more time, what would you like to do? Great question. How about you, KE? Please let us know in the chat. PPK, what about you? If you had more time, what would you like to do?
Well, money does can save us time. Money can sometimes make things a little faster. For example, you can buy a private jet. So it doesn't cost time to travel from one place to another. If I have more time, I think I would like to travel the world to explore things more.
Sounds great. KE says, I'd like to spend nice time and romantic time with my boyfriend. I cannot live without him. I love the passion. That's a strong passion. K Workshop says, the price of gold is rising. How about buying gold?
Yeah, not bad. The gold has been valuable since forever.
Yes.
So I don't think it's a bad investment option.
Me too. Good idea, K Workshop. And I was thinking one thing for me, if I had more time, I would like to make more international friends. I'm studying a lot of different languages, and so I'd love to make, a Spanish-speaking friend or German-speaking friends and talk to them more. You too?
Yeah, I would like to meet new people, so I try new things with them. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, let's move on to the next section of tonight's show, which is, do you think it's possible to buy happiness with money? In Japanese, お金で幸せを買うことは可能だと思いますか? What do you think, PPK? Do you think it's possible to buy happiness with money?
Yeah, I actually think so, to some extent. I mean, but money won't, solve all of your problems, but it can solve many problems. So at least it's better having money than no money, because no money can also buy nothing. So
yeah, that's true. No money can buy nothing. Very good point. Okay, well, I think that's quite a very standard answer. Let's discuss it with the viewers. Do you think it's possible to buy happiness with money? お金で幸せを買うことは可能だと思いますか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. All right. Do you think it's possible to buy happiness with money? お金で幸せを買うことは可能だと思いますか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. So, I think, for many, in America, for a long time, people kind of linked money to happiness. But I'm quite suspicious. Like, I think it's kind of it's kind of, on one hand, it's like a good tool to encourage people to spend their lives working to make money. Because it's kind of like, if I make more money, I can buy happiness. And so it's kind of, for me, it's a little bit, kind of commercial and kind of advertising idea. And then, it's sometimes, making money sometimes makes people tired. And they can't enjoy their life as, so much. So then they think, I need to make more money. So personally, I'm a little suspicious of this idea. It's a very common belief and very standard, but are you?
It might be true to some extent and false to some extent.
All right. K Workshop says it depends on what you need to be happy. Interesting answer. If you want K Workshop, you can give us an example.
Yeah, everybody have different wants and needs. So the level of happiness they need would differ also.
All right. Zayar Meet says, yes, I think money can make many happiness. Sounds great. Okay. Aya Mitita says, I think it's possible to buy with money except love and health. Okay, Kay's got a big one. She says, no, I disagree. I believe happiness has nothing to do with money. Happiness lies in contentment. Yeah, whole kind of spirit, sometimes people call it spirituality.
Yeah, I also think happiness is something we find within. Okay, if it makes sense.
Yeah. Contentment, kind of like inside you, that kind of. Yeah, sounds great. Hey, hi, Bridge. Thank you for joining tonight's show. Hey, hi, Bridge says, I don't think there's an answer. Yeah, this is kind of a tough question. Do you think it's possible to buy happiness with money? Yeah,
well, I also think external factors influence the feelings within us. So to some extent, money can influence happiness, but happiness is something within ourselves.
Yeah, and I think this kind of it's interesting because you can't really control how much money you get in life. You can work hard. You can try to get more money. You might get more money, but it's kind of like you really can't control like if you're gonna get this much or this much or this much. It's a little bit based on luck. Mm-hmm. And kind of almost like like kind of a gamble. If you invest money, you might get lucky. You might like make a great investment and get tons of money, or you might be unlucky and your investment might lose everything.
Yeah, I think most of us don't realize how much luck plays a role in our lives.
All right. K Workshop says, I need to know how to make the lightsaber. I can't buy it with money. You know the lightsaber he's talking about?
Yeah, Star Wars thing. I think children toy would be cheap.
Yes. But a real lightsaber, I don't think you can buy that with money.
It's not even possible.
In this galaxy. Perhaps in another galaxy. Okay, great job. Let's move on to the next section. So now, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。So, yeah, I think the interesting thing, so like if you can't control, really like how much money you get in life, what can you control? That's my new question.
Well, what we can control is what we do.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can control what we do because we are what we do.
Yes, what we do, and I think you could also say like our effort to a certain degree. And so, Yeah, I think, really that should, like, oftentimes like money is kind of shiny and it kind of catches our eyes. Like, oh, it's kind of so awesome to have that. But really, like, all we can really do is control our actions and our effort. So, I think, if you make if you do, if you work hard and you take good actions, you gotta, try to find that happiness from doing that kind of activity.
Yeah. Life has its ups and downs, but at least we can control ourselves, how we react to things.
A funny comment. I am Matita says, money is second God. Really? Interesting sentence. Sentence. If you want to change that into a question, I would just ask, do you think money is like a second God? In Japan, there's like, where I live in Japan, there's a couple like maybe eight or nine gods of fortune, and some like one is like health, and one is maybe I don't know. There's all these different gods of fortune, and one of them is the kind of the money god of fortune. So I guess they were on to something, maybe. Okay, K Workshop says, I think everything's too expensive these days. How about you? What do you think, PPK?
Yeah, I think it's the same everywhere. The housing prices are rising, the food, the everyday items and such, especially in Myanmar, economy is upside down. So, but I think it's the case everywhere. Especially, I heard in America, like it's difficult for this generation to own a property, a house more than ever.
Yes. Yeah, and in Japan, the prices have gone up a lot recently. Okay, so Zayarmin says, PK, after your school's finish, do you have so this is kind of a personal question. Do you have a plan to find big money?
Yeah, of course. With that money, I would, starve.
Yes. But I think you're maybe are you about like in your second year of school now?
First year.
So you got you got a few more years to go, right?
Yeah.
So you still got time. To keep working on your plan, but it's never probably never too early to be thinking about it. And I think a lot in America, college for a lot of people it's not you don't have a lot of money in college, but it kind of that can sometimes make you work hard to like I want to make money after I finish college, and I will, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes being poor is kind of a good motivation to work hard and to aim high. So it was good for me, I think. Okay, well, let's move on to the last question of tonight's show, which is, do you know any ways to be happy that don't require money? In Japanese, お金を使わずに幸せになる方法を何かしていますか? So, PPK, do you know any ways to be happy that don't require money?
It's a tough question. Well, I think it's doing your hobbies. For me, I'm happy when I'm doing my hobbies like writing, drawing, or hanging out with friends at playing games. And simple things like that can make us happy.
I agree. All right, well, let's ask the viewers. Do you know any ways to be happy that don't require money? お金を使わずに幸せになる方法を何かしていますか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. I think this is a little bit of a tough question because I probably, maybe a better answer a better question might have been that don't require much money. Because you could kind of think, almost everything requires some money. Like, you could say, breathing doesn't require money. But, having the food to kind of like, sustain your body so you can continue to breathe, it requires a little money. So I think there's some argument that, everything requires money to a certain degree, but we'll say very, very little money.
Even hobbies like writing, it requires some equipment like computer or pencil.
Yes. Yeah, paper.
Playing games with friends require some device like phone or
I would say, one thing that doesn't require almost any money is communication. Communicating with people, at least, like face-to-face communication. Talking to people, which I love. I love to communicate using languages. And so, but you have to find people.
If you think deep enough, I think everything requires some amount of money. For example, communication, you gotta like go out and pay for some transport fees to meet the person. At home, you gotta wash your clothes after you come back. So it's a water fee.
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, let's
keep thinking.
Yes. All right. Well, Zayarmin says, is it impossible? You have no money and your family cannot be happy because life is very difficult without money. Interesting. It is impossible. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So he's saying that this question is impossible. Okay, I got it. Zayarmin, nice answer. K Workshop says, I am happy when I'm riding my off-road motorcycle, but it requires a bit of money for gas. Yes, that's true. So, yeah, but it's kind of like, like taking a walk. Taking a walk doesn't require much money. And if you're lucky, if on a nice day, if the weather's nice, and you go outside, you can kind of enjoy the air.
How about like exercise? Now that I think about walking, I think exercise, we get refreshed. So we will be happy.
Yes. As long as you don't, I would say for me, if you don't exercise too much, because, I love to exercise hard. And then after that, I'm like, I'm too tired to be happy, really. Kind of exhausted.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just want to rest.
KE says, it's to think about your beloved person and hope their happiness. I just try to do that. You'd feel happy. Great. Yeah, I think that's, talking about, thinking about your loved one or something like that. Another one is hugging. Giving someone a hug or someone hugging you. Sometimes you can feel closeness and happiness. What do you think, PPK?
Yeah, I think human relationships can definitely be a huge factor when it comes to happiness.
Yes. And I guess it's a little case by case. It depends on who's hugging you.
Yeah.
Yes.
If a stranger come up to you and suddenly hug you, you'll probably be more confused than happy.
Yes. That would be funny. But yeah, sometimes, but especially if someone you have a close relationship with and hug, you may feel very happy. But stranger could be a little awkward. Or even my mom. I was not a big fan of like my mom touching me as a child. Okay, so we got some people writing in here. K Workshop says sleeping is a good way to be happy, and it doesn't cost much.
Fair point.
Very good point. Yeah, sleep or rest, like resting, just even sitting on a chair and taking a rest. Probably is most of the time free. Kan Mama says, I'm so happy when I see my granddaughters. Yeah, that's great. Seeing loved ones, spending time with loved ones. Yeah, great ideas. Okay, well, let's move on to the last section of tonight's show. So now, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。You can write a question about money, or you can write a question about anything. Please feel free to share your questions. Yeah. So I know it might be a tough question to answer, but PPK, why do you think inflation is so high in Myanmar these days?
Well, the obvious reason is the war.
The war.
There's like tension between states. So things like goods, food cannot easily be transported. So the resources are sacred. So naturally the available resources prices gonna be higher.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a very inefficient economy, right? But sometimes if this area produces a lot of this product, and then they can sell it to other places for a good price. But if there's war going on, and they're like, well, we're not going to sell this food to anyone. We're just going to keep it all for ourselves. And then other places are like, well, what are we going to do? It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's one of the factors.
Yeah, that's, in America, it's a lot. I think it's the, one of the big reasons is the tariffs, like Trump's tariffs on other countries around the world, kind of been increasing prices. So
yeah, I heard that America definitely has big influence on other countries, like the wars, the economy.
So that's, it's kind of in my opinion, it's a little bit of a self-inflicted, like making your own prices go up. But
Yes.
the whole like war in Ukraine and Russia has been terrible, probably, for prices as well. It's a pretty negative topic. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question. Oh man! If you have a positive or happier question, please feel free to share it in the chat or in the comments. Anything's okay. You got any idea, PPK?
Yeah, I got some ideas, but it's definitely interesting. Well, money can be a huge factor on influencing things. So having more money is more advantageous in everything.
Good point. Great point indeed. Okay, Zayar Mint says, PK, what do you think? Money and love, which is important?
I think both are definitely important. It depends on how much money you have and how much love you have. They can definitely influence your happiness.
Yes.
If you have money and you don't have people you love, then your life isn't gonna be, cheerful and all. And I think you definitely need money to some extent to keep people by your side.
Yeah, indeed. I was gonna say, it's kind of, it's interesting thing about, like, I feel like, sometimes, we talk about love and there's love, and then sometimes it's a little kind of corny phrase, but people say true love. And so, that's to the extent it's possible, when there's kind of true love between two people, it's like they really, kind of love each other for each other and not for, what the other has, either physically or aesthetically, like appearance-wise. Sometimes, people love each other for their appearance or for their wealth. It's not really true love, in my opinion.
Well, I don't even know what true love would look like. I assume people are referring to it as having a soulmate or something, like the most compatible person you can be with. Yeah, I think they're referring to that.
Yes. Yeah, I just, for just loving someone for, who they are, not like what they have, either whether it's, physical possessions or their body, how their body looks. So, you know, but who knows? But so in that situation, I think true, that kind of love might be a little bit more valuable than money.
Yeah,
But
to some extent.
if it's if it's not that kind of love, it's just like appearance-based love or wealth-based love, then maybe money is more important than that kind of love.
Mhm.
Something like that. Okay. Anyway, that was good. It was a tough question, Sayar Mint. If you have time, Sayar Mint, please tell us which one you think is important, love or money. Okay, well, tonight was quite a long show. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. That's the end of tonight's show. Thank you again. Sorry about the beginning of the show. It was just the shutdown. The program crashed. So my apologies. All right. Well, the Let's Speak English and Nihongo podcast is every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe and give the show a big thumbs up. Presto K Workshop. I think a Presto might be welcome or see you later. But thank you, nice Italian, and KE and Aya Miyatila. Thank you guys so much. Well, PK, anything you want to say?
Good night, everyone. It's nice to talk to you.
Yes, it sure has. It sure has been. All right. Well, we will see you next time. また近いうちに会いましょう。Bye.